Well, looks like I'm going to spoil the ending just because I have plenty of time left. And if you don't want the ending spoiled to you, if you don't trust my opinion, you still want to see the show for yourself, then by all means, click the back button right now. But for those who have seen the ending or don't care about this show, then you could sit down and have a cup of tea while I tell you how the anime ends. Apparently, there are two antagonists in this anime. I mentioned Saji before. He was from Nanyo Academy, the same school that Sonsaku was in. But apparently, his real name is actually Oin Shishi, who's supposed to be this guy who manipulates and pulls everyone's strings so he can rule all the schools. So he could take over all the schools. And there's Totaku from Rakio Academy, the same academy that Ryofu's in. And of course, he's trying to avert his fate because apparently he was going to be killed by Ryofu because Shishi manipulated her to do so. Well, apparently, while Totaku was trying to avert everything since the Big Fires tournament, it didn't go so well because Ryofu decided to go there because of Kodai's death. She decided to go straight to Rakio Academy and kill Totaku there, even though Totaku sent Sonsaku to kill Ryofu, and he does this by putting this little evil technique on her where she would develop this weird snake-like bruise. And once it hits her heart, she will die. So Totaku said that he will undo this little curse on her if she were to kill Ryofu. Well, things didn't really go well. Ryofu decided to, do a technique of her own on Totaku, basically killing her and Totaku in the process. And of course, Totaku decided to undo the curse anyway and told him that Saji needs to be killed. So, and then later on in the series, Saji confronts Sonsaku and Ryomu, and they have this little fight. And Saji wants to awaken the house show. I forget what was it. That little dragon berserker mode she goes into. Like I mentioned earlier in this review. And he said, and he thought if he could do this, if he can awaken that little dragon spirit within her, he can take full control of her and, of course, take over all the schools. Now, he almost succeeds, but apparently the that Sonsaku was wearing would change color to red, which was the same color Magatama that Totaku had. So apparently Totaku possessed Sonsaku and almost killed Shishi or Saji. But of course, her attention gets averted when she kills another member of the Big Four, Kane, who, he's a really uninteresting character anyway. He was a psychopath. And the only things he say is, Akufu Sonsaku, I'll kill you! That's all he says in the entire anime. Anyway, the possessed Sonsaku basically beats the shit out of him, I'm sorry. But, Shishi apparently had this realization about fate or whatever, and then all of a sudden, he just stopped caring about taking over the school. Because of this, he had this sudden realization. I mean, after all his attempts, and almost succeeding, mind you, that he just decided to give up entirely. So he decides to fall off a cliff, but Sonsaku, Koken, and several of the other guys that were at the forest in the fight scene saved his life at the last minute. Now, even though that's not the end of the anime yet, apparently after that, Sonsaku has a final fight scene in the anime with Uketsu, and this entire series had a build-up to this fight scene between Sonsaku and Uketsu, and apparently, according to the history, Sonsaku was to be killed by Ikitsu. But then again, it's kind of irrelevant at this point because Totaku's dead and Shishi gave up on his ambitions. So I don't know and the reason why Sonsaku agreed to the fight anyway is because she said, I made a promise. So anyway, they have this final fight scene, which was still pretty bad. I mean, yeah, they create craters and all, but they still rip each other's clothes, and they still weren't that very well animated. Well, anyway, when Ukitsu awoke in the house show within Sonsaku, she was this close to killing Ukitsu, and Koken interferes and says, "I'm here for you to protect me." That's all. I'm here to protect you. And then all of a sudden, Sonsaku kicks Koken in the chest and gets knocked into the school wall. And then apparently, she was about to kill Koken, but she stopped. She fainted. And all of a sudden, she wakes up. And she's like, I just only want to fight stronger opponents. Takes off the Magatama and throws it down to the ground. And Ukitsu does the same thing. And that's it. They cut to a credit scene where, everyone's talking about how Sonsaku could unite the schools and how Ukitsu's gonna, be under Sonsaku's, be part of Sonsaku's team. And Sonsaku Ukitsu, of course, had like two more off-camera fight scenes after that. And that was the ending. It basically left you open for the following 2 seasons, but unfortunately, I am not interested into watching the later 2 seasons. Because this show is riddled with bad fan service, bad animation, really not so interesting soundtrack, and a poor English dub. There's really nothing good I can say about this anime. I mean, if you want a fan service anime, and that's all you want, you don't care for anything else, just fan service, then Ikki Tousen will exceed your expectations. But if you want a good martial arts anime, then you need to look somewhere else, because Ikki Tousen gets an F. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll see you guys later. Darkscream217 signing out.